Well, hey folks, this is Buffalo Rambler,
And this is Legs.
and welcome to another episode of False Reality Check. And today we have another great episode with the Occult Rejects.
Yeah, we were graced with the presence of New York Patriot and Lux, and both ex secret society members, and they gave us a little insight into their time within their societies. So Lux was Golden Dawn, and New York Patriot was OTO.
Yes.
Or
Ordo Templi Orientis.
yes. So those were the secret societies they were a part of, and they gave us a little insight into some of their ceremonies, what they had to...
The rituals.
Yeah, what they had to
The rites.
consume.
Oof.
Insights on how music plays a role, frequency plays a role in manipulating our reality.
Yeah.
It was really, really interesting, and we both like the work that these guys are doing.
Oh, yeah.
With their show.
They on their show themselves, they do a great job explaining, and then as guests, I feel they do a great job explaining behind the works behind these secret societies. But the other thing they do is they have some wonderful documentaries, many, short documentaries in multiple parts online. And we started watching, we watched the one on the Shriners. You started watching the Quetzalcoatl. I'm totally butchering that.
Just call it the Q.
The Q. And, they have other ones on the Moose Lodge, which you wouldn't think are very sinister, but they sure as hell are.
Yeah, and they recently released a series on the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, and that one was fantastic too.
Yeah.
So people need to check it out. We'll put as many links as we can fit in the show notes on the podcast for you guys
To check them out, yeah.
Yeah.
So should we announce the video
The thing
portion of this?
The thing, yes. So we were blessed and thankful enough to get onto Rockfin. So we are now on Rockfin. We'll be providing some exclusive content on Rockfin alone, but the audio will always be free for the people. Just like Sam with Tinfoil Hat, the audio is always free for the people. The difference will be is the video itself will be on Rockfin for about 2 weeks behind a paywall, and then it'll come out to play, so to speak, for free. So if you're not a paying subscriber of Rockfin, you can actually watch it for free after that. We'll put some video on YouTube, but we're gonna have to cut some of our videos short. I think our days on YouTube, along with most of the other people we talk to, our days are numbered. So
I don't like YouTube anyways, so I don't want to put anything on there.
yeah, but we should put something because we do have some listeners on there, and I appreciate them.
True.
So you will get portions of the video, but you will not get the full video. The full video will be available on Rockfin alone because we want to promote a platform that creators get reimbursed for what they do and really treated well. And Rockfin does that.
Yeah.
So
Excited to be a part of that. And that's a new change for us in terms of the video. Like Buffalo said, audio will always be free. You can always get that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Mm-hmm. Our website always has the episodes too. But yeah, stay tuned for some exclusive Rockfin content coming soon.
Definitely.
I might show a nipple or something. You never know.
Oh, no, you're not. But
okay. Sorry. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
No, this isn't OnlyFans. We don't want to get kicked off Rockfin the second we start on Rockfin.
I know, I'm just
kidding. Be like, this isn't for porn.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
I'm in a frisky mood.
Yeah, I can tell.
It was the Occult Rejects.
It was. They got us all hot and bothered with all this secret society talk.
Really cool guys, but anyways.
Super cool guys, and definitely go check their work out.
Yes.
Lux and New York Patriot are two ex-secret society members who learned and practiced their occult ceremonies and rituals as part of the Golden Dawn and Ordo Templi Orientis. They understand the magic behind the veil of our shared reality. Why are they exposing this now? Because both these gentlemen are tired of how these societies, through the guise of charity and personal growth, have manipulated our culture and our society to fit their agendas. These men are brave, putting their lives and their safety at risk to bring to light what the hidden hand wants to keep in the dark. Yet they persist, putting out short documentaries about these societies, their inner orders, and how some of the people we trust the most, police, judges, sheriffs, are in a big club and their only drive is power and mastery of the world around them. Give them a shot if you really want the truth behind these occultic secret societies. And please enjoy Lux and NY Patriot from the Occult Rejects. I want to say welcome first, guys, to False Reality Check. And we're recording. We always just roll into it and we just record. But I really appreciate you guys coming on, because it's not often that any of us, normal folk outside of a society gets to speak to somebody who was, or, a society of practicing occultist. And I find it super fascinating. So I'm glad you guys are here. Like, just thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on. Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, I remember I first came across you guys on Adam's podcast, Ever Gets Red Pilled.
Oh, yeah. That was a great episode.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So after that, I had to listen to what else you guys had. And your series on the Shriners,
Oh,
man.
We just wrapped that up today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, really.
That was great.
Oh, man. I can't wait to jump on the Moose Lodge. I was like, we were debating which one to go into first. And I was like, either that one or the Shriners. We need to know. And so now we're
Moose
going
Lodge
into
is
the
pretty
Moose
good.
Lodge. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, there was some interesting. I think from that, from like that on, you'll start noticing other like things that are in common going forward with other series that other series that we've done and that we're doing now. You will see start seeing common things like companies, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
It's just shells, huh? It seems like it's all just shell companies.
Yeah. But I think it was around that series, right? I think it was like, or maybe the Shriners, but I think the Loyal Order of the Moose, we started noticing commonalities.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, just the longer that we've been doing this, the more similarities and connections seem to come about. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty weird because it just looks like it's all branches of one tree.
Yeah. Yeah, that common theme that they're all connected is all I've been seeing when I've been listening to your episodes, even with the Jehovah's Witnesses one that you guys did recently. That was good.
That was great.
Do you guys think there's some underlying agenda? Obviously, because all these organizations are connected and they have police, judges involved, politicians,
with the jesters, right?
Yeah, I mean, even with
other organizations like Freemasons and stuff. Yeah.
But those are the same.
Oh, well, the Freemasons are supposed to be like the whole organization behind everything, right? And then these are just different degrees and different inner orders. So the Jester is like an inner order of the Freemasons.
Yeah, Freemasons,
yeah. So it's like they're all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, there definitely is a plan, I would say, and it's funny because a lot of people think that Masonry is sort of the guys behind like so much of it, but I even think at this point that they're feeding up to a group above them.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems that way for sure.
It even seems like that with some of the vibe I get after watching the Shriners and the Royal Order of the Jesters. It seems like there's even something above them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we even still had the Quetzalcoatl series, but that's a long one.
Yeah, I started that one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Dang it.
I'll
have to get on that.
I wasn't. Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff in that actually.
For sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you mentioned Jehovah's Witnesses before too, with like it's like an underlying reason or something, or being connected, or if there was something you mentioned, and I often think a lot of these like, I don't want to call it a cult, but I mean, I guess that's probably some people would say the Jehovah's Witnesses are. But like stuff like maybe like that, the Mormons, and then you even start getting into like the Process Church and just like the Finders, all those weird things and all those kind of like cults. I think most of them probably were created not for the reason why the public thinks. It was meant to be a cult. It was meant to control people and manipulate people, I think, mentally, and be maybe guinea pigs for stuff. Some I could have started just by somebody with a very weird idea, and it just got screwed up over time. But I think most of those things are done on purpose.
For sure.
Yeah, I have a limited experience with Mormonism. I was born in the Mormon church and grew up Mormon. I got baptized when I was 8, but we left the church when I was about, I think, 10 or 11. And the temple ceremony, from what I know, because I never went through it, but my parents have and my grandparents have, it's the Mason ritual. It's basically the same kind of Mason temple ritual that they go through. And Joseph Smith, I believe, was a Freemason, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Have you guys ever looked into Joseph Smith or any of the Mormon stuff?
Very little. I haven't looked into them since I really started getting into this stuff.
I have a bit, and I definitely have seen some written works by Smith that does seem to suggest that he was a Mason, and also that he was more or less stealing certain ideas from Freemasonry to incorporate into Mormonism.
Yeah.
I think every time I put out a Jehovah's Witness episode, the 3 of them, I got comments every time about people being like, "Are you going to do the Mormons now?"
That was probably me.
They were like, you better not leave them out, or that's, now you're just picking on Jehovah's Witness. And I was like, me and Lux have talked about, because we have heard so many things about that I'm sure it was something we'll probably get into eventually anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know. That would be super interesting, because if you actually like track back where the religion started, they started like around the same time, I think. And I think I'm not sure if this is right, but I think the guy who started Jehovah's Witness also knew Joseph Smith, or they were linked somehow. It seems kind of weird. It's almost like who is it? L. Ron Hubbard, and who's that other guy?
Parsons and
Jack Parsons. Exactly. Yeah. Where they have that connection, and they go off, and L. Ron Hubbard started a religion, and Jack Parsons just dove into the occult and all kinds of.
Right.
L. Ron Hubbard robbed them too, and took his wife.
Oh yeah, that's true. He did. He's a piece of shit.
I mean, even back then, he was an asshole.
Yeah. And former Navy intelligence too, so that gives you a little bit of an insight.
Just like Aquino, military.
Yeah, you see a lot of those trends.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen an interview with Kay Griggs? She was a wife of former military, I don't know if naval intelligence but some kind of military intelligence. And she has like a 7.5 hour interview.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
Really long on YouTube. And it's an interview with her pastor that she did this interview because her husband was a drunk, and he would beat her and abuse her, and he would reveal all this kind of inner workings of how the military intelligence works, and how they just kill people for no reason or just as a test, and they're all into like the occult and all kinds of stuff like that. Have you ever heard that interview or saw it?
No.
Oh,
wow, that's wild stuff.
I'm gonna send that to you.
Yeah, we'll have to send you that.
Yeah, please. I would like to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of funny that you mentioned that too, because I have someone that I'm very close to, and they have someone who they were really close to who was in the intelligence agencies. I won't say which one, but same situation. Someone would kind of get too drunk or do too much drugs or something, and then would reveal all of these sort of secrets that were pretty secrets, but this always seemed to came out.
Yeah, apparently all these generals have orgies with each other. It's really weird.
And they have a thing called a cherry marine, which that's like, I guess, the one that gets used or passed around or something. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know what that's about. But that kind of reminds me of the episode that we watched you guys on. I don't remember who it was, but you mentioned that in one of the talks with going into one of these societies, that they said this isn't the time that we fuck you in the ass or some shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
What was that about? Me. Yeah,
I think that was Lux. His initiation.
That was me. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Sat down right before initiation, and they told me that. So
they joked about goats and in the OTO.
Oh man.
So you're when you
Well, actually, believe it or not, I mean, among most members, regardless if it's true or not, most of them actually believe that anal sex is involved in the 11th degree, and they all think it's like cool or whatever or interesting. Like, oh yeah, 11th degree, you got to get fucked in the ass. Like everybody talks about that and actually believe it for the most part. And it seems to be like, I guess, okay, if I get up that high, I might as well do it. I don't know.
That's just a blackmail thing? Or is there some kind of like occult significance to doing that?
Is there like a control thing, like are you trying to harness some kind of energy with people?
I would think it's probably everything. I mean, you might as well film it for blackmail. I do think you probably can get some sort of energies that you want to use for magic or something to do with magic. I'm sure that fits into some probably weird sick shit. But I mean, yeah, I think it's probably a bunch of things of why that's done, if it is even true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, I mean, my opinion as you go up, there's just things that if you keep on going along with, I could see by that degree you being okay with that, even if you started off with not being okay with it. You'll get manipulated enough then. If you stick around far enough, you'll think that shit's,
Yeah.
And that doesn't, and I mean, I would even go as far as like, you may not even really still know what you're doing at that point. You just might be maybe there because you're going to be used by the ones that do.
That's dark.
Like you just don't have the capability or even the will to control
you
yourself?
don't even know your will at that point.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm getting at. That person will not even know their will. They will be a controlled robot or sheep getting, banged out.
It's like MK Ultra.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, if you really think about it, if what I'm saying is true or possible, it really isn't. I probably guess too far from some like horrific stories you'd hear for MK Ultra. Really, the same fucking thing. I guess now it's just done in a ceremonial sense too.
Yeah.
And who even knows at that point? Who even knows what the temple setup is at that point? I mean, that could. I don't know. That could just be like not even in the OTO, I'll put it this way. When you start hearing about and seeing what you can find about higher degrees, it seems at some point it is no longer actually attainments for yourself anymore. It seems to be as if it's workings within a group to acquire something. So it all looks like basically the degrees might be more of really rituals as well.
I see. So you only made it to the first degree in the OTO, right?
Well, that's all I'll claim to, because if you go up any higher, it gets the percentage gets, if I was like, I think in the second, that puts you in like, that actually is like 30% of the orders probably in, only second degree, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
So like, or if second degree or higher, I think is only like 30% of the OTO. So it narrows it down. So if I'm trying to stay somewhat anonymous, I really don't go any higher.
For sure.
That's crazy. So it seems like
I mean, there'll be stuff that I might bring up and talk about from initiations. I'm not going to mention which ones they are, but I may talk about things showing you how far, like, might give it away.
Yeah.
But an average person will have no idea.
So in terms of the rituals that you guys took part in for Golden Dawn and OTO, were there any that you had was your favorite or that you still use today? Are you still practicing on the side even though you're not a part of these organizations anymore?
I would say that as far as the rituals go, and we've gone into length about this, but I'm not trying to speak for New York Patriot, but we really don't do many of the rituals that we once did while in the secret societies. There was one that I love, of course, it's, the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram,
of course,
which is like a daily ritual that you would do. Yeah. But we still, at least for me, I still do a lot of practices, but it doesn't necessarily have to be associated with the Golden Dawn. So I'm talking about things like meditation, yoga, so.
for sure.
Yeah, I would say pretty much almost like the same thing as Lux, except like I haven't done like a actual like a lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. I think I might have done one since I've known Lux, and I think I told him about it. And I think like since I stopped, and it was just like something just felt off, and I just wanted to get rid of whatever was there, if something was. But I've only really done anything like that once since I've stopped, and it's since I've left the OTO, I guess technically. So I mean, it's probably been probably like over a year now.
Okay.
Yeah, or a little bit close. But I will still do like Lux said, I'll still do meditations. I forget that sometimes chakra work. Like when I'll say meditations, I'll even be considering like doing chakra stuff. But I'll mention like sometimes I still do that stuff as well. Like I'll focus on chakras or go up and down, stuff like that. But like I do it in like a meditative state. So that's why whenever I say meditation, I don't really include that, but I should make that more known, because I do think that stuff kind of helps too.
Yeah.
If you can have enough focus to actually feel your chakras, that definitely means you are quieting your mind.
How do you?
My
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think like maybe Lux would probably have to say the same thing. For you to feel something like that, I think you have to be quiet enough, like I guess, or be quiet enough to feel it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like you have to actually really be so focused,
Yeah.
and not worrying about anything else, that you are able then to really feel that energy.
So was meditation a common practice when you were in OTO and Golden Dawn? Or was that something you did prior and you just stuck with it?
You go, Lux.
It was something that I had done prior, but it was definitely required in the Golden Dawn. Different types of meditation too. Some of them would be guided meditations, or some of them would be, focusing on one specific thing that you're meditating on that you would like to change in your life or your mentality. And then other meditations were just, total empty mind, so that you can more or less, connect with your higher self.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Do you when you do your own ceremonies, is there like a standard format that is followed, or can you be creative in making your own? Is there just like a base you have to kind of follow in terms of steps, or can you kind of harness your own spirituality and create your own portions of your own ceremonies for yourself while you're in it? Obviously,
for me, at least in the Golden Dawn, it was very, very, very structured. Even after initiation, they pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, the version of this ritual is the one that we give to the public, and we're about to give you the real version of this." And we're talking about such specific, even the way that you would point fingers or move your hands, or the way that you would turn in a certain, everything was very, very well structured. You didn't really deviate from that much at all.
Wow.
What about you, NY Patriot, for the work with the OTO? Was it very structured?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I will say for the magic now that me and Lux would be doing, except for thelemic magic, which is just specifically magic that Aleister Crowley made. Me and him really would have been pretty much using the same formulas, I think, or the same approaches, at least to whatever we're looking for. And in that sense, I think it's like structured as in like, let's say I wanted to just banish energies, then me and Lux would both use the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. That's just a specific ritual. I mean, I guess maybe if you want to get fancy, I mean, you can have like extra stuff on your altar, or maybe like stuff like that, like incense or candles. But the actual technique really is pretty much the same. Maybe some people think they know something different, and they might do a little part different or say something a little bit different. But for the most part, I mean, you will see a common, like between the OTO and the Golden Dawn, sure the same fucking one, you know.
Yeah.
Except for like I know Lux had mentioned that later on, I think he had learned a different one. So as you go up, I guess things change, you know. But for the most part, we would all use the same things. Like, and like, if I would say, like, probably I could speak for Lux on this too. Like, if we wanted to do banishing for like the planetary stuff, we would start out with the LBRP and then do the lesser banishing ritual of the hexagram. It's like there is a specific formula, but I will say I think where things will differ, and when I actually, and I'm not even trying to promote magic right now when I get into this, but I will, like, I'm not like giving tips, but I will say that in my opinion, this is the huge part. All right, yes, we have all those formulas. We do have very systematic ways to do things. But when you have people, in my opinion, and I started off as one of them. Now the difference would be that Lux would probably have maybe different readings because a totally different style and different invocations. And the OTO might have like their own type too. They're going to sound probably different and use different things. Some people will cling on to those and will read like word for word Aleister Crowley, like what he's done. Exactly word for word. And I'm sure people probably do that with Israel Regardie. I don't know. But in my opinion, at that point, when you're trying to stay that structured, you have absolutely no feeling behind it.
Yeah.
There is no love in that will when you're trying to do any magic. You know what I'm saying?
That makes
So
sense.
why even bother? That stuff, I think, needs to be very much your own from your heart. Doesn't matter how poetic it sounds or not. I think as long as there is true emotions behind what you're doing with a pure intent,
Yeah.
you should really do it whatever way you want. You want to have, you know, within certain things, you can have different crystals, stones, incense, do all sorts of shit. People dance, play instruments, you know. At that point, I think all that stuff is when, and that is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of magic.
I love that. He kind of mentioned something that leads me to the question that I had about the shrines and altars, which you mentioned in another podcast, that if you needed to charge something, you would put it on the pentagram, and I'm assuming that's on an altar or a shrine. So a lot of religions will have, like, you know, like if you're Catholic, you have like the Mary thing. If you're Buddhist, you have like Buddha with the incense and stuff like that on your altar, your shrine. What does an occultist shrine look like, or altar? What does it look like? Is everybody's a little bit different? You kind of leaked to it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, they give general outlines for what your
Yeah,
altar should look
yeah.
like in the Golden Dawn, you know. And I remember even someone that was in the Golden Dawn with me. I went over to their house one day, and they had a whole entire room. I did too, but theirs was way, way more sophisticated than mine was, and they had this crazy setup with just this totally perfect altar. And you know, so yeah, everyone's can have, depending on the secret society, it all can be a little bit different.
For sure.
I would say I normally left mine always had some sort of like basic thing, like it was always set up for, like, you know, like just real quick, like I would have like a black candle and a white candle for the two pillars of the Kabbalah. I would always have that regardless. Like, let's say if I was just doing a regular banishing ritual. Now, if I wanted to start specific, like, you know, invoking specific stuff or banishing, now I'm going to start bringing in like a different candle, maybe for the middle, and extra things that go along with that energy. But I would always kind of have like a basic, regular, just, I guess, generic setup regardless.
Yeah. So when you were doing your rituals, intention obviously is a main part of it. Did you feel like there was any negativity during your rituals with the OTO and the Golden Dawn that kind of made you take a step back and wonder, what am I actually involved with? What am I opening up, I guess?
For me, I definitely had a couple of those situations. even as early on as initiation, there were just really are things that happened during the initiation itself. But yeah, there was certain energy that you would feel. Some of it felt neutral. Some of it felt positive at sometimes, and some of it definitely. I won't say that it felt negative. I'll say that I felt like someone was hiding something from me and using what was being done in the ritual for a purpose that I was unaware of. So yeah, that's my experience at least.
For sure.
What about you, NY Patriot?
Initiations, yes, maybe there was things that made me uncomfortable, and I probably really should have listened to myself a little bit more. Anything there, magic wise, or any other rituals? No. The stuff that made me, I guess, very uncomfortable was all stuff I did on my own, or that happened, at my house and my temple. It wasn't at a lodge or anything, or working with other people. It was always alone. So.
It's funny that I remember. So this was moments before my initiation. So imagine I'm like, I have my robes on, which of course I really didn't even know how to put on correctly quite yet, or where things should go. And I'm sitting in a room with a black hood over my face, right? And I got a robe on, but I don't have any clothes on underneath of that. And I could hear as they were preparing the initiation ritual in the basement. So underneath me, I could hear them doing this ritual, preparing the initiation. And I just, the feeling that I got was just this overwhelming sense to run. Like it didn't matter where I ran to or where to go. It just was like, run.
Yeah.
And like New York Patriot said, sometimes your gut is the best indicator of the situation that you're in, but you rationalize things and you'll say, okay, well, you're just being silly because you're just nervous or you're scared. Stop being so scared, or stop being so, over analytical. But in hindsight, yeah, I wish that I would have just visual instinct.
Wow. What's the weirdest phrase that you guys had to utter during a ceremony? Can you share that?
Yeah, can you share? Are you allowed to share?
I don't know if there was really believe it or not, we just had like words, grips and shit like that. Like I'll be honest, actually, the first two things that were shared to me in the OTO, on the word on is supposed to be like, another word for God in the Heliopolis, because it's taking place heading towards Heliopolis in the Minerva ritual. They give you the word on, and I had already known that from like fucking listening to Jordan Maxwell. I was like, yo, this wow. I mean, I'm thinking, all right, it's Minerva, it's not even first degree yet, so I guess I really shouldn't even be expecting them to tell me much of anything. But I was like, fuck, like, you just like said something I heard Jordan Maxwell tell me like fucking 12 years ago. Like, this is already aware. Yeah, and then the next one, Jah, and I was like, yo, I fucking knew that too, like another word for God. I'm like, yo, you're gonna tell me something like I actually know, like don't know?
Yeah.
Yeah, even I know that one.
Oh, and then if you go on, I believe it, and then the other ones that I do know after that, it's words that we've probably all said. So, well, especially if you're a Thelemite or into Thelema, you would probably know these words rather well, and you'd be like, really? This is the other one?
Yeah.
Just leave it like that. So no, like they haven't, in the as far as I've gotten, they haven't really said anything too profound to me and I guess like at the end when they're making you go around the room and like repeat the fucking, I don't know if they maybe Lux, did they do this to you? Did you have to do like, you have to give like, I guess if you guys have a specific grip or a handshake, you have to like do it to like a whole bunch of people and go around and then repeat the fucking word or do whatever else. And then if there's like a thing you have to do with your legs, like, or your body, like you repeat it multiple times. Did they make you do that? Like, like in a style like that, like almost like in a circle going around?
You cut out a little bit halfway through that. Can you say it one more time?
like I like in the OTO, from my experience, like whenever they give you like these grips or words and these all these other things you got to do, would they make you repeat it like 20 fucking times, like just going around in a circle?
Yes. Yeah. Really is really
I
redundant.
was like, oh, this is redundant. Yeah. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
this is why I had to wait an hour and a half for the person before me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of this silly shit.
Oh my god. What a nightmare.
It's
You
like
know,
really
no,
similar to this.
tell you
They're
through,
like,
some of them really need to like get cut out. Like a couple of things, I'm like, yo, you can really, what are we doing?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I understand some of it for sure is very important, but it's just for the average person, it's like just so irrelevant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Lux, I remember you mentioning the Golden Dawn was pretty heavy on Atlantis and believing in Atlantis and that it was real. For both of you, was there any like ancient technology that was revealed to you during your time in OTO and Golden Dawn?
I mean, I guess I would say that the more that you go up, the higher your grade, the more that information that they give you, supposedly, right? But I can't even say positively that the information that I was given is actually correct. This is just their belief system. It's what they, seriously adhered to. I mean, these guys were really sold on the Atlantis idea, and that there were more or less a pretty advanced civilization that had technology that we have lost during whatever type of event, cataclysmic event might have happened. But they certainly believed that Atlantis was a real place, and that this high civilization had fallen based on sort of like both a moral conundrum within the society, where they began to really value other things that were counterproductive to spirituality, like material things or decadence and stuff like that. And that's what caused Atlantis to fall, and along with some type of natural event like a cataclysm, asteroid or flood or fire. So
Interesting.
That reminds me of Tartaria.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know about Tartaria?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
That's a
Tartaria.
very interesting idea.
Yeah.
You think it's real? Do you think that was around?
Me and Lux have I don't know about like, I'll say like the idea of like a domed protective area, maybe kind of like Atlantis. I have believed in that could be possible. Like what we're in right now, it's just like fucked up.
It's like the flat Earth dome kind of a thing, right?
Well, I'm not saying we have a flat Earth. I'm just gonna say we're under a dome. It could
For
be like
sure.
that Wakanda type shit or whatever that was, that Marvel stuff.
Like
Like it could like literally be like that, or even like the dome in another Marvel thing, the Scarlet Witch, WandaVision. They got a dome on that. It could be something is pretty much like that. I guess living under it maybe at some point. Where we're some high tech, whatever race, and somehow now we're just a bunch of slaves stuck in it.
I definitely get that sense.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these people, because some of the people that you mentioned, like in the Shriners documentary, the 3-part that you guys did, a lot of these high up government people, like presidents, movie stars, they were Shriners. They just, is it that, do you think that they target people that are in those positions, or they put those people in those positions for a reason? Like, do you think that those people actually got there on their own?
Both. Yep.
Both, yeah, there are certainly people that they put into certain positions for their interest, and there are other people that they manipulate, blackmail, and then use that to control them for sort of their own agenda.
Yeah. Do you think magic got them into those positions? Like,
I didn't think about that.
Their performance, like a ritual that they did, got them up into those positions, and they got noticed. think that's a
Probably a
possibility?
small percentage of them, yeah.
Okay.
I still think a lot of. I think there's more of. I'd probably say like 70%. Is unknowing still. Like they're there because of like a position, or they're because they're like a sick fuck or whatever. They fit the agenda of what that inner order is about, and but may not really know much about magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember seeing Kramer's face pop up
Oh
in
yeah.
the Shriner episode.
Yeah.
Him being like a, I was like, oh shit.
I'm like, man, they got Michael Richards. I'm like, oh shit. I love Seinfeld.
Oh, that means you're actually watching it. That's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, because you guys
Thank you,
put
guys.
so much detail
Take
into
credit
it.
to that,
We need to
yeah.
pay attention to it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also wanted to be like, well, if you don't want to take my word for it, look at the screen, and then
Exactly.
or just check what it is and go look yourself.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever be like, oh, there's people just making this up.
No.
Yeah, no. You guys definitely aren't making this up. I mean, there's like legal documents you guys post.
Yeah.
Like this is real. This is real.
Yeah.
No,
You did the
At
research.
one point I made a Pacer account just for our shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is
Yeah.
that? I've never had to do that. That seems like complicated. Is it expensive to have a Pacer account?
No, I think it's like, no, not really. I mean, unless you're sitting there just, I mean, it can if you want to just keep on like just checking random shit over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I think it's like 10 cents a search or some shit.
Oh,
Oh wow.
shit.
You know what I'm saying? But like if I put in the right name the first time, I mean, I'm good to go. Like it's like it could show you 100 of them, but like that's your search now. Like that's your 10 cents, and now you can go find whichever one out of all those.
Yeah.
But if I was just like, let me check this, let me check that. I mean, I'm sure you could start racking up a couple of dollars.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, for us, and the reason why we are so thorough with that type of research and the content that we put out is one, because there are a ton of people who don't believe that these types of organizations or this agenda is real. And so in order to, cross all of our T's and dot our I's, we have to be really thorough with that research and have undeniable proof of what we're presenting, so that those who want to poke holes in it, they can't. And also too, I mean, just generally for the public who doesn't have any idea about this stuff, when they watch our episodes, we want them to be convinced. I mean, it's that we're not making things up or that we're not lying, because there are a ton of people out there who are.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? And Lux had one time, has even said, and I've even heard it before, and I think is why I use this approach a lot in our stuff. Like I heard Lux say himself, sometimes see where the money's going, and you'll get an idea of what's also going on. And like you would not believe how easy just using Bizopedia and GuideStar, which are both free.
Yeah.
You just were to search for shit in there, how much you can find on your own.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I use GuideStar.
And who would normally I don't even remember how I even thought about like searching those things, but who would normally think of doing it?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Yeah.
But you actually can find shit by just doing that. You'll see how much money they're worth, and you'll see who owns what.
Yeah.
Who the registered agents are.
Yeah, they all seem to use the same fucking like four.
Yeah, it's the same registered agents.
That's the stuff you'll start seeing when you start going into the Moose Lodge. You'll start noticing the same registering agents, like four companies probably.
It's probably owned by a moose.
From since those shows on, even up into the stuff we're doing now, still, even Rando Nordica is still the same. I think Quetzalcoatl, we saw them there too. So that's like 3 or 4 different series, and they had really like the Franklin Institution, like how would this Franklin scandal? I'm sorry, the Franklin cover up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would have thought like somehow one of those things are with the same registered agents? You know what I'm saying? Like totally different stories or different like topics, and somehow they're still connected to these fucking same companies.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like wherever you find something screwed up, a company or people that are involved in the company that are screwed up, you will see these same registered agents for these places.
For sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Franklin scandal episode you guys are putting together. I
Yeah,
know,
that's a really crazy story.
yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys, what are cakes of light?
That's for NY Patriot.
And can we actually eat them? I like cake, that's why.
I'm trying to think of I can't even get an idea how to explain what they look like.
Like, what was the purpose of that
yeah.
in the ceremony? I guess.
Well, at the end of the Gnostic Mass, you have like a row of people on each side of the temple, and each person will go up and they will eat a cake of light. They will drink wine, and if you don't want wine, and then you can have what was it, grape juice or whatever. And you fold one arm over the other, you make a cross, and you're like, there's no part of me that is not of the gods. And then you go sit down. And that's just like, taking communion, like I guess same thing as in church.
Okay. So it was like a communion type thing.
Yeah.
That's a better name than communion though. Cakes of light sounds way more like interesting than communion. But
I mean, it's a little bit more deep. Well, I think it's a little bit more deeper than when it comes to what people think for church it is. But I mean, there's a lot more different representation going on than that.
Can you go into
that's
it
like one
bit?
of in my opinion, I even think with the fact because of menstrual blood being supposedly all right, that stuff is in the cakes of light. They cook it.
Okay.
They put it in there. They cook it down to a powder, supposedly.
Oh wow.
And then you make another batch of like the same type of cake mix, which you will find in like a couple of books that Crowley did. And then you mix it together with the burnt batch and then recook it again. Now I don't know if everybody does it that well, does it that way. But that is the recipe. So, I mean, I even think of the fact that that type of blood is put in there that represents something a little bit different.
Interesting. And you knew that going in to partaking?
No, not originally. Okay. No, I did not.
Okay.
And the funny thing is that years prior, before I had ever even gone into the OTO, I know I read the books that had the recipe in there, and like I probably in Crowley stuff, years prior before I know I had to have seen it and was probably like, yo, that's fucking wild, but somehow like forgot, because like I was into reading some of his stuff and a lot of his ideas prior. I thought it was very interesting, but still thought he was like a fucked up sick dude. And then I just kind of like tossed it to the side and I was like, yeah, I'm done with that. The only reason I ever even went back is because I just wanted to go into a structured, magical, I guess, environment. I never really thought he was a great dude, but I do think that there's definitely something with like the blood in that ceremony too.
Didn't Crowley use like other body substances in his?
They say that, yes. They say piss and shit. I think supposedly somebody at the Abbey at Thelema died from, I think, ingesting it, supposedly.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think somebody else had also either gotten sick or died by supposedly having sex with a goat. Now, these are all accusations, though. I don't know if there's any proof. I mean, I'm sure it's very, very possible. He supposedly did get kicked out of Italy for all this stuff. I don't know if that's even true, if he even left, because he had the Abbey of Thelema in Italy.
This is like during World War II kind of time, yeah. Right before the whole like concentration camp stuff started in Europe.
Yo, he gave Winston Churchill the peace sign.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's in the LVX, the LVX formula for like the ritual of the hexagram, or I mean that's that formula is in that. That would be the V is supposed to be, I guess, like Apophis. That's what it is for the OTO. If I was doing that you know, and there's a certain you start doing certain gestures when you're doing the LVX formula or however people call it in the hexagram ritual. You will start doing things with your body, like making specific gestures. And at one point, you kind of put both your arms up and you kind of put your head up and you say Apophis. Oh, yeah, Apophis and Apophis and Typhon or some shit like that. God, it's been a while. But the whole thing is that he's putting up, and I think it's that is, in my opinion, that's the beast rising at that point in that ritual. LVX, Luke's, and then you do like the light of the cross. You do all this stuff, but that V is Apophis and Typhon, and I saw that as going against the swastika, because at one point in that ritual at the end, closer to the end, you do make the sign of a swastika also. So in my opinion, I think he gave him that, saying that was like trumping the swastika. The beast was killing that.
Wow.
And that used to be a beautiful symbol of like universality. And they just take these symbols and they just flip them to whatever they want. And it seems like to me, I don't know, if you were a churchgoer, right? If you're a Catholic, you would never like take the cross and be like, I'm going to put it sideways now and I'm going to put it like this. So, and that would make you like a bad Catholic if you were to do something like that. But an occultist, does that make you a better occultist because you found a new meaning for something? Or does that make you an even worse occultist?
Sorry about that, guys. Can you hear me over there? I just wanted
yeah.
to make sure. I might cut out there for a second.
Oh yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, we got you. We can hear you.
Sorry, what was the question again?
That, like, you know how the swastika, so like Hitler took that, it used to be a beautiful symbol of universality. You know, it was used in Hinduism for thousands of years, and then he took it and flipped it and made it his own. And if you're like, let's say you were a Catholic, right? You would never take the cross, flip it upside down or to the side and be like, this is my new symbol now, and this is just as good. But if you're an occultist and you take a symbol but you invert it or change its meaning or something like that, does that make you a better occultist, or does that make you a really like shitty occultist for doing that?
I mean, it definitely, in some ways, it could be seen as innovation or a different expression of the term. You know, like just to keep it real simple. So you have the cross, right? Cross of Christ. So in its original form, it has one new word, cross. It gives you a totally different meaning, different in occult. So yeah, I mean, there's some people who have definitely worked on, you know, theoretical magic and stuff, and they invert symbols, change symbols, and it's seen a progression or a better way to do things. So it's a lot of times it's open for interpretation and innovation. But yeah, that's probably all I would have to say about that one.
Interesting. Lux, did you have?
I think honestly, with a question like that, I mean, there's just too many
variables.
Yeah. I mean, you know, turning something upside down could make it worse. It could just change directions for things. It's just. I think, all right, I'll put it this way. If you actually can see and understand the difference of one from the other, I think that's amazing. You know, that's great. That's knowledge you understand. I guess it just depends on where you're going from there with that knowledge or that understanding.
Yeah. For sure. I was going to ask Lux, did you have to consume any bodily fluids or anything weird with your time with the Golden Dawn?
Not that I know of, but I'm after I've been talking to New York Patriot for so long, I'm actually concerned that maybe the communion crackers that I was eating might have been a little bit different than what I was told.
Oh,
yeah, you dropped out when he was describing it all, and I was like, uh-oh, what did Lux have to do?
Yeah, they're like, oh, here's just a cracker, and then I wondered after that, like, man, was that a cake of light and I just didn't know it yet, you know?
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
After you get the cake of light down there, they send you to Jonestown.
Wash it down with some Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
That's messed up. Oh man. So you had a similar experience in terms of like a, what do you call it? Like a I lost it. Like when you
rituals or ceremonies.
Yeah, like a ritual. You had the same type of experience as NY Patriot, I guess. You go up, take the cracker or take the cake of light, drink the wine, sit down.
Say your phrase.
Was that like was that just like a common thing you do every time you went into temple? Or...
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
So.
Oh, you know what? I actually wanted to ask. I wanted to ask Lux something because I think he was mentioning it before, and it reminded me of, like, I guess, memories back at the lodge. I think you were saying that you knew that there was something else going on somewhere else because you could hear them doing it in another room, right?
Yeah.
That's did you guys, like, whenever you had, like, I don't know, your version of mass, or if you guys have like a specific ceremony, maybe even a class, I don't know, but I know for the OTO, like if we're doing anything magical, that was to be done before people were even allowed to be to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys probably did that too, right?
Right.
And when you said that, that brought me back to and then it did make me think. There was a few times, I will say now, because when I heard Lux say it, it reminded me. You had asked me if I ever had any uncomfortable feelings at the OTO.
Yeah.
I will say there was a couple of times when I heard people doing that I just felt uncomfortable or actually uneasy in it. It wasn't didn't feel like it was vanishing for me. But after the fact, eventually, once I went in and they did whatever, if you did the Gnostic Mass or whatever, I had already forgotten about it and I'm already fine. But there was a few times, and it may have just been the person doing it, who just I thought was creepy or just didn't sound right. There was a few times that I've had that experience.
How often did you guys have to go participate? Was this like a daily thing, once a week, once a month?
Yeah.
So much as you want. Well, for me, it pretty much as much as you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same experience here. I was a bit further away from my temple, so it did take a bit of driving to get there. But you were always encouraged to go as much as possible, especially for larger events, but I guess one thing that's different between New York Patriot and I is that I had been out prior to COVID, and something that he kind of talks about a lot is that they would do like Zoom meetings and stuff. So even during the time of like quarantine, they would adapt and do like these like virtual meetings and stuff, which I never had. But